It's gonna be new neighborhoods, new streets. It's a lot. I just got some gasoline. But I take a moment to unburden my mind. I've been missing traffic, leaving the house a little bit later, coming home a bit later, and the drive is a bit nicer. It's nice having the breeze, especially in the evening. Actually had a little bit of rain, just a little bit passed through it earlier. Did some really neat stuff to the sky. Cleared out some of the, I guess, some brown that was starting to accumulate in the sky, and also did some really neat stuff with the sunbeams all over the place. It was pretty neat. And that really looks like a river in the clouds. I doubt there's any way this will show, but yeah, now you can see it. Doesn't that look like a river cut through? Right there. But yeah, funny enough, I actually kind of missed all the human interactions with the traffic. You know, usually when we're going a few miles an hour, there's a lot of interactions. There's a lot more paying attention and looking at people. As if I don't get enough human interactions other times. But I guess on the heels of some of the stuff I was commenting that I figured out the other day from some of these readings and some of this coursework I've been doing, specifically the cognitive affective psychology, reading these papers and books, and noting how many of us enjoy the physiological excitement of doing things, and having a body has those feelings, those underlying biochemical things that inform our thoughts. Our thoughts, some knowledge base. You might have some computational stuff. You might have some memory. A spot for attention. There's components of that, but there's this the underlying moodness, and so there it is, actually, in a nutshell. Excitement. I definitely recognize a big part of my existence enjoys excitement. And so whether that's hip-hop, metal, punk, whatever has the energy and the drive, that's what I tend to go along with. And it's no surprise, as a kid, my first driver's license, side profile, had me with this big half-bleached mohawk. It was large. It was cool. Didn't have the beard at that point in time. This didn't come in until I was after 30. But that. But yeah, the physiological excitement of the body, and those emotions inform other stuff, and there are certain bends. When I say a bent of the mind, that relates to certain things, like when you have a solid sense of certainty, that ties in with, say, anger, or serenity, for that matter. Nope, I'm good. I know it. This is fine. And you kind of have that risk aversiveness, whereas other feelings, other excitements, anxieties, what other forms off the top of my head, but those lead you to being more risk-taking and more excitable. And so a lot of us, we don't realize there are so many different shades, different colors, like that color wheel, the wheel of emotions, feeling wheel, or whatever you want to call it. And you can split hairs a lot, and to recognize when your body is feeling your version of vexation, and is that identical to frustration? Is that exactly the same as irritation? Irritated and vexed? I bet you we could split hairs on that one. You know, I bet you there's a flavor, there's a color of irritation that, you know, the tone doesn't quite match up with the vexation. You know, maybe vexation is when you've got goals or plots or plans for the future that are being interfered with and stymied. Whereas irritation is just, you know, you're having a hard time, patience, something you are, your attention is drawn to a place where you don't like it, and so there's like a rebellious nature of irritation, like a reflexivity. Oh, 6 minutes already. I'm trying to keep them under 5. But anyways, future me, or whomever else watches, a lot of us have these feelings in our bodies, and we can't name them. We don't know quite what to do with them, and we don't know how to, and we don't purposefully interpret them in a way that we choose. And it's kind of back and forth. You know, there's certain aspects of things like, you know, anxiety might kick in. What would you say, before or after? Like you got a feeling, and then an interpretation, and then what comes out of that might be more of mood, emotion. Yeah, it's a fine line. We still don't even have a really good vocabulary for all these things because they're really subtle, and sometimes it's hard to access that. And normal, ordinary discourse and so forth in the world doesn't get into this as much. I mean, this is a fucking journey. It's like you take this mountain of pebbles of your thought patterns, your habits, the physical things, the food you eat, you know, puts your body in a certain feeling. You know, a lot of people eat based on their emotions, you know, and one person, you know, you might sometimes be in the mood for some spicy food. You might never be in the mood for some spicy food because it brings about a certain feeling. And that can just be taken down to the atom. And so with all these little pebbles of habits and so forth that, you know, comprise you as a human, or you're comprised of, that word, I think I got it right that time. Yeah, you move these things one pebble at a time, one thought at a time, one moment at a time. You learn, you change. Kind of like the other week when I was doing stick fighting, and one of our, Tuhan, one of our instructors, she was like, no, do it like this. And I was trying slow to do it exactly like she's saying. And it was like my body was just like, my mind was fighting my body. It was like to get out of my head and just do exactly. It was so easy if I could just get out of my head and just do exactly that. But you know, I had all these whatever thought patterns, everything was tied together, and it took work to let go and to have this other action take place. You know, in a way that I wasn't gonna put my elbow at a certain angle from my shoulder and then my hand from something else. And you know, with these techniques, you gotta be subtle, gotta be exact. I mean, that's what the technique is. If you're off by a few inches in your position when you're trying to do something, maybe you fall over, maybe you break your own arm. It's exactly how it happens. Okay, 45 seconds. So anyhow, the journey, yeah, moving all those things, you know, every day. You don't have to go anywhere. You know, that internal journey. Like, really, I've been trying to turn my mind and all these things towards the excitability and kind of moods and the kind of thoughts that I want to have, you know, the existence that I want. I know I don't want to be irritable. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be argumentative or jump to conclusions. You know, I choose different.